This is J. Krishnamurti's 14th discussion with teachers and students at Brockwood Park, 1975.
What should we talk about this morning?
Personal relationship.
I think we talked a great deal about that, haven't we? Do you want to talk about it? Or something else?
Can we talk about expression, self-expression,
Self-expression.
and suppression?
You want to talk about that? Come on, this is your discussion, your dialogue between you and ourselves, between all of us. So what would you like to talk about? We talked about the other day when we were here, respect. And also we talked about the necessity of that deep respect so that you respect nature, each other, and so on. From there, what would you like to talk about further? Taking that as the basis.
We've talked a great deal. We have discussed a great deal about many different things. But what is the center issue? What is the center with which
All these problems could be solved?
Yes.
Good. Tunki asks, Tunki, you know, the man with the aeroplane. He asks, we've got so many problems in life. Moral, physical, religious, economic, and so on. What is the center, or from what is the central principle, central movement, central state, central quality from which you can answer all these problems, right? What do you think it is?
Can we start by asking what the problem is?
Huh?
Can we start by asking what the problem is?
What a problem. We've talked about that a little bit too. Problem, we said, is that which is not resolved but continues day after day, which is not gone through, finished, which is not resolved. I don't know, I haven't looked up the word problem really, the root meaning of it. It means that. So, what is the quality of a mind, Tunki asks, which would resolve these problems without creating further problems, without getting more and more involved in side issues, but resolve these problems once and for all. Right, Tunki? Right. Now, what do you think is essential, is that quality of a mind? Do you understand? We've got personal relationship, problems of personal relationship, the violence in relationship, the disappointments, the hurts, the various imaginative, speculative fears, pleasures, the sexual problems, all these issues we are confronted with. We have to face them every day of our life in different ways. One day it is this, and the next day it is the same thing under a different cloak, and so on, so on, so on. All through life we have to face these problems. And Tunke says, is there a central, or is there a mind, is there a quality of a mind that will solve these problems and not carry on with them? Now, answer this. You're all silent? Students are all silent?
Well, we know what you said before. There's this bit, it's a mind free from tradition.
Mind?
Mind free from tradition.
Yes, mind free from tradition. But the quality of a mind. Come on, you're all...
Bruce mentioned asking you a question, what is the problem? And you answered it, something which is carried over.
No.
Sorry, at a certain point you mentioned that.
No,
Maybe
I said a problem means that which is not resolved but carried over from day to day to day and burden involving fear, misery, confusion, conflict, sorrow.
seems to me it's connected to...
Answer that question, Tunki. You put that question yourself first. So find out. If you're confronted with this problem, what is your answer? How do you answer it? Just sit back and not just shrug your shoulders?
Well, I don't know whether it's fair, but I think it over quite a bit, and it seems that I'm not willing to... a certain part of mine willing to give up something, but the other part doesn't.
No, Tunki, that's not the problem. That's not the issue.
Is it possible at all to solve all your problems?
Is it at all possible to solve all the problems? Is it also possible to solve the problems of war, where each nation is spending billions and billions of dollars, pounds, or rubles on armaments? Can you solve it? And there is inflation in this country, poverty in India, starvation in Africa. Can you solve those?
Are they problems or are they situations?
The problems are for the people who have got to face them. You can't call them the situations. They have got to face this. How will you... No, I'm asking, how will you... Can you solve the problem of those people who are starving in Africa?
Well, I think there's two types of problem then, because you said there's a sort of problem which is...
Therefore, we say there is the external problems, the wars, economic conditions, inflation, starvation, armaments, national divisions outside. And there are so-called personal relationships, so-called personal problems. involving relationship with each other or with the community. There are problems of suffering in oneself, fear, the agony of loneliness, suffering, death, not only the death of millions of people out there, but also death of oneself and one's friend. All these are issues we have to resolve or understand or say, I can't do anything about that, but I can do something about this. But in solving this, perhaps it will affect that. Right, Bruce? Right? Are we together in this? Yeah. Right. Now what do you think is the quality of a mind that can see clearly not only the personal, but the impersonal and the collective, and put order in this? We said the art is to put things in their right place, where it belongs. So, what is the mind that can do this? I can see war between the Jews and the Arabs, the Muslims and the Hindus, out there. And I can see the causes of it, as much as I can. And I can see that one of the causes is nationalism, right? So, am I a national? If I see that out there, what the causes of it, and I see that in me, as long as there is this nationality spirit, the worship of my country, my people, my belief, my flag, and so on, must inevitably create division, and therefore one of the causes of war is that division. And do I, in my thought, in my being, belong to any community? You follow? As long as I do, I'm contributing to that. Right? Do we all? Bene? Can we go on from there? Now, what is the mind that sees that? What's the quality? What is it that makes the mind have this insight? You understand? You have an insight into it. And you say, no, I won't do that.
Well, I could say something, but it sounds too simple.
Let it be simple. Perhaps maybe.
Just honesty.
Honesty? Honesty in thinking.
And speech and action and everything.
Yeah, honesty. Now, will honesty solve this problem? Honesty of suffering out there, suffering in here, will honesty solve it? Being very honest. What does that mean? Not deceiving oneself, not be prejudiced. Would you say honesty is seeing things as they are? Not colored by me, or colored by my prejudice, or colored by or influenced by propaganda, to see things as actually as they are. Would you call that honesty?
No, honesty has more to do with your outward dealings with things. There must be another word to suit what you just said.
Would you use the word clarity?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Clarity. Clarity of the mind, which, because it is clear, unconfused, honest, integral, whole, it's not broken up. Such a mind has a clear perception. Would you say that? Huh? Have you got such a mind? No? How do you know? Have you watched your own mind and see that it's confused, and therefore a confused mind creates its own problems? Are you aware? We went into the question of awareness, conscious, know, recognize, see. All that is implied in that word awareness. Are you aware that your mind is confused? Huh? Are you aware?
I think it's very necessary to be also aware of the fact that if you say...
Aware of the?
Aware of the fact, or what I see to be the fact, that if you...
We said that. Aware. Am I... Listen. Am I aware, and you aware, that your mind is unclear?
Yeah. Well, if you say, my mind is confused, or my mind is unclear, then that really implies a state.
Implies?
It implies a state which is rather defeatist in a way.
No, that confusion may be constantly moving, may not be static.
Yeah, but when you say my mind is confused, that implies that...
Keep it simple, keep it very simple. Are you aware, all of us here as students, are you aware that your mind is confused? Be simple about it. Huh? Are you
looking for a yes or no answer?
I want to know. What's the good of asking a question and you keeping silent? Does silent mean consent? Because you're all silent, therefore you agree that your minds are confused. Is that it?
Sometimes they seem to be confused, and at other times
There's a cloudy day and an uncloudy day. Is that it?
Yes.
Huh? One day you are very clear, next day you are confused. And listen carefully. And one day when you are clear, your actions are all right, perfect. And when you are confused, your actions are confused. So what happens? One day clear action, the next day unclear action. Right? So what happens?
When you put that all together, it's confusion.
Half the year you are confused, huh? And half the other year unconfused. What happens?
I think we are confused as to what answer you want from us. That's my confusion. What answer will be acceptable to you?
Not with me. I'm not interested in how you accept my answer. That is absurd. Isn't there conflict between confused action and unconfused action? Right?
You mean because you have experienced and
And
therefore...
confused. There are the conflicting actions. One day I'm good, the next day I'm bad. Well, the result is, what happens? Come on, this so, okay, so we're asking, are you aware that your mind is confused? Oh, come on. Yes? Agree. Now, it is so. Don't pretend about it. Don't be silent about it.
Can you be sort of half aware? I mean, conscious but not aware of it? I mean,
Do you know your mind is confused?
Yeah.
Yes. Then how do you know? Who knows that your mind is confused? Listen to my question. When you say I am confused, I know I am confused, who is it that says I am confused?
My confused mind.
Huh?
Confused mind.
What?
The confused mind.
Confused mind says that I am confused? Think about it. Go watch it. I say I am confused. So how do you know that you are confused? Are you comparing that confusion with the days that you are not confused? Therefore you say you are confused? By comparing confusion with clarity, you say then, I am confused. Right? Is not comparison itself confusion? Or is that too much? What do the clever ones say? Huh? What do you say? I compare myself with you, and I say, because you are clear, and I say to myself, I am confused, because you are clear. If there was no comparison, what would happen then? I compare myself with you who are clever, bright, clear. In comparing myself with you, I feel I'm confused, right? If I don't compare, what happens?
I feel like myself.
Huh?
I feel like myself.
What? No. Then would I use the word confusion? Oh, come on, sir. Where?
When we see confusion without it arising out of comparing.
I can see the confusion out there, outside.
No.
In politics, in economics, in war and all that. Inside myself, I'm confused. Am I confused because I compare? Do answer that question.
Yes, comparison must mean.
So you say, through comparison, I find I'm confused.
Yes, but one may also see confusion.
Wait, I'm going step by step. So through comparison, I've found that I'm confused. Why do I compare? Is it one of our conditioning? At school we compare, you are compared with another. The whole way of our thinking is comparative, isn't it? Joe, Mr. Joe?
I'm thinking more of confusion as when you
you have two ideas as to what the...
Wait, I'm going slowly, sir. Take, when I compare myself with you who are bright, and therefore I say I'm not bright, if I don't compare, what actually takes place?
I see the fact as it is.
Huh?
I see what it is.
You see what actually is.
Yes.
What is actually is when I don't compare myself with you?
How it is.
What is?
You must know.
Huh?
Comparison, by its nature, must use a word. And if one uses the word bright or this or that,
We understand. The verbal, we understand.
but if you don't put that word on it, the comparison would issue a word. Now, if without that word, then if you don't use the word, then the mind would not fall into the pattern that word
I understand.
brings up.
I see you are tall. I am short. I see you are taller than I am. The word is not tall. The word actuality is he's taller than me. So in comparing myself with you, I feel smaller.
But that's because the word tall
Forget the word, the actuality. So I'm asking you something very simple. What happens if you don't compare? I know, look at it, sir. What happens?
I can relate to you without feeling frightened of you, without feeling inferior.
No, look, please, just watch. You are bright, I am not. Apart from the meaning of the word, the actual fact is you are very bright. And I, comparing myself with you, I say, by Joe, I am dull. Not so alive, bright. And if I don't compare, what am I?
I'm neither bright nor dull.
Huh?
I'm neither bright nor dull. I'm whatever I am. Neither bright nor dull.
Therefore, what does it mean? Go on, don't just stick there.
There's no barrier between me and you.
No, it's not a question of barrier.
You're left with what you are.
Now, what am I? If I don't, listen carefully, if I don't compare myself with you who are bright, I don't call myself then dull, do I? Huh? Now, wait a minute. Then what am I? No, it's okay. Then you exist only through comparison?
Yes.
Okay, go slow. Okay.
Isn't it?
Tunki exists only because he compares himself with me or with you. Stick to it, boy, stick to it. So I'm asking you, is confusion brought about through comparison, or without comparison, confusion is? This is a little too much. Is this too much? Huh? Huh?
Just the last sentence.
You want the last sentence? Now wait a minute. You want the last sentence. Why? Why didn't you hear it the first time? Wait, why didn't you hear the first time? Because your mind was wandering? Huh? You were not paying attention. Sorry, I'm not quizzing you. I'm not beating you. So, because you are not paying attention, say, please repeat that again. Doesn't that indicate disrespect? Un momento, un instant, je vous prie. We went into this the other day. You tell me something and I'm not giving you my attention. I say, please, would you kindly repeat that again? Either I don't understand what you said, or I was not paying attention. If I don't understand what you said, that's not disrespect. I don't understand what you're talking. Though I'm listening to you, I don't understand. But I am not attentive to what you're being said, because it means I have to repeat it. You are asking me to waste my energy in repetition, which is disrespect. So I won't go into all that. We went into it the other day. So, you say, without comparison, there is confusion. Is that so? Wait a minute. You're hungry. Do you, by comparing the man who is hungry, do you become hungry? Or you are hungry? You follow what I'm saying? In the same way, are you, without comparing to clarity, saying, yes, I see actually that I'm confused. Can you say that?
Yes. But then would that confusion have arisen without comparison in the first place?
I'm going to go into that. He asked, would that confusion arise if I didn't compare?
If you hadn't compared.
No, look. Do you compare? There is war. And you say, well, peace, by comparing war with peace, you say there is war? Or there is war, killing each other?
There is war, but I'm asking why did the war...
That's a different matter. We can go into why war exists. I'm asking you, are you aware of confusion? Not comparing order with confusion. Have you got it? Have you? No. Are you aware of your confusion? And who says that you are confused?
In your awareness of that confusion, you are referring to a something, or is not?
Beg pardon?
You are referring to something. The way you become aware of the confusion is with reference to a condition, a relationship, or something.
I'll tell you, all right. Confusion. What do I mean by confusion? Contradiction in oneself, opposing desires, wanting this and not wanting that, wanting to be good and doing something other than what is good, right? Fear that creates confusion, sadness that creates, and so on. We say confusion is contradiction, taking that in few words. Where there is contradiction in me, contradiction being opposing desires, opposing objects of pursuits, opposing demands, pleasure and fear. If that exists in me, I am confused, right? Right? Would you agree to that? So, I see that. Therefore, I'm not comparing. I see the fact that is. So I say, I am confused. Not the moments I am not confused. I don't. Then what do I do?
Before you go further, what is that that sees this confusion? You asked this before.
Yes, I asked you, who is it that sees this confusion? Something, a fragment, a broken piece of your thought that sees the confusion? Huh? Or there is only confusion?
I was wondering, must there be
Tunki, did you hear what I said?
Yes.
I said, is there somebody who says, I am confused? Outside, looking in, says, I am confused. Or there is only confusion, not I see confusion. Or I am confused. There is only confusion. When I say I am confused, is the I different from confusion? When I say I'm angry, is my anger different from myself? Remember, we talked about it the other day. You may not remember. Are you doing all this or just talking about it? So, the way actually is, look at it. For yourself, you will see it. We think we are confused. Right? That is, confusion is something different from the fact, from the observer who says, I'm confused. Is the observer who says, I'm confused, different from the confusion? Huh? No, I'm not playing with words.
But if you say, I am confused.
That's all. I am confused. Not what you will do about it. What you will do about it is the entity that says, I can do something about it. The observer who says, I can do something about it. You understand, Nelson, do listen to this. It's quite interesting. Listen. When you are angry, is that anger different from you? No, be simple, very simple. You are that anger. Then what happens?
Then you live with that anger.
Yes, you live with that anger. Wait, you go slowly, you live with that anger. What do you mean by living with that anger? Not you live with that anger. You see, you are that anger. So what you say, what do you say?
There is only anger.
Your anger. Then what?
You see the fact that there is anger.
Huh?
You don't try to escape from it.
No, you see, you know what action is? And you know what inaction is? Oh, I see.
We can see that the anger is us just now, and we are looking at it.
No, I want to tackle it differently.
So you're saying that there is action?
Nelson, listen to this. You know, I'm asking what action is. What is action? Getting up, talking, doing, going, right? Moving. Is a movement. And do you know what is not action? Look, I act according to my ideals, if I have ideals. I act according to my faith, if I have faith. I act according to my concept, conclusion, according to my political belief, according to my conviction. So I act according to something. Right? Are you following this? If I am a Catholic, I act according to my conditioning as a Catholic. Right? Right? I'm taking that very simple. Keep it simple. Now, if I'm not a Catholic, I don't belong to any organized group, Catholic, Protestant, Communist, Mao, and so on. I don't belong to any of that. Nor to any belief, ideal, follow? Conclusion. Then, what is my action? Why are you hesitating?
Well, you just do what needs to be done.
Huh?
You just end up doing what needs to be done.
You act according to a belief. I act without belief. But I act. Your action creates confusion, because you are acting according to a belief. Right? Therefore, it's inaction. It is no action at all. I wonder if you see it. Well, leave it, it's too much.
Well, can we pursue that further? Can we pursue, elaborate a bit more?
What's
what
okay?
is- Can we elaborate or pursue it further?
I see. You want to elaborate? Look. You see, I see anger. I'm angry. And I act about it, don't I? I say I mustn't be angry. I must control it. I rationalize it. I say, why shouldn't I be angry? Therefore, I am doing something about it.
And that you can say is action.
Huh? Wait, keep it. I'm going to it. I do something about it. Right? Understood?
Yes.
Wait. Slow. But if I am anger, I can't do anything about it.
Is it relevant to ask?
Wait a minute. Have you got this? If I am anger, or if I am that, what can I do?
Might you also be at the same time other things, or only anger?
I'm only taking that one thing.
Yes, I know, but if one is only anger, suppose, then does anger do anything except be angry?
You didn't, no, please, you're taking this away differently. Please just, I do something about anger, don't you? Control it. Say, yes, why shouldn't I be angry? Suppress it, or try to control it and go beyond it. You are doing something about anger, right? But if your anger, what can you do? You can't do what you're habituated to do. Right? Follow that, Nelson? Then what happens?
There is still a movement.
Wait, but find out what is that movement. I see when I act on anger, there is a division between me and anger. Right? When there is no division, I am that anger, I can't do anything about it. Right? If I am brown, like dark skin, what can I do about it? Huh? I am that. But if I say, no, the lighter skin is more fashionable, then I do something about it. So just follow it. If I am anger, I can't do anything about it. It is. Right? That is the truth. What I do about anger is not truth. I wonder if you get it. Huh? Mr. Joe? So what can I do? So, wait. I can't do anything about anger if I am that. So there is total inaction about anger. Before I acted on it and gave it life. But if I can't do anything, I am that. There is inaction with regard to that. Therefore, it is dead. No, you don't get it.
Is it only when you act on it that you create the division?
Of course.
If you have brown skin, it's brown. That's it. Finished. You can't do anything
It's
about it.
finished.
It's the end.
That's all. Now, if you get that principle as momentum, thought has given when there is the division that I can do something about it. That's one kind of momentum, one kind of energy expended on anger and therefore furthering confusion. But when there is anger and nothing can be done, what happens? You don't see that.
There's nothing more to be said.
Nothing more to be said. Therefore, what does that mean? Go on, investigate it, Bruce. Go into it. Don't stop there. If I can't say anything about it, which means what? Verbalize it. Huh? You see, when you say just be, exactly.
So I can't say anything about it at all.
So, since you can't say anything about it verbally, does it exist? No, you're not going through with it.
Verbalizing extends it, so that if you're not verbalizing it.
No, look, madam, it's not so easy as all that. Don't just brush it off. Go into it, you will see. Look, there's something happening with regard to with which I'm concerned in a certain part of the world. Mm-hmm. Something is happening which is not quite right. And as I'm connected with it, I'm related, something to do with it, I can't do anything at this distance. You follow? So I leave it. I'm not worrying about it. I'm not saying, oh my Lord, what am I to do, this, that, the other. I leave it. You follow? What takes place? No, you don't miss it.
What is the capacity to be able to leave it? Because most of my time I'm not able to leave it.
That's just it, I'm telling you. That's just it. Because you want to do something about it. So you are different from that. It leads to all kinds of complications, but we won't go into that now. So I'm asking you, are you aware, that you are confused? You are confusion, not that you are confused. Would you admit to that? Would you say, no, it's not like that? Huh?
This is the thing which I cannot see it properly. I don't know why.
We went into this the other day, this way. Are you the black hair? Are you the brown shirt or blue shirt? Are you the eyes, the nose, the body? Are you the character? The Indonesian country conditioning? What are you? You're all that, aren't you? Or you're something totally different from all that.
Well, in what context?
Or you might imagine that you're God. Oh no, I'm none of these things, but I'm supreme being. Or supreme cuckoo.
Then that means that I'm only what I imagine.
Huh?
I mean, that is, you seem to hint that I'm only what I imagine. Yeah.
That's all.
Yes.
Wait. You're only what you imagine, what you think you are.
That's right, yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Yes. So you think you are angry. Of course. You think you are confused. So you act upon it, don't you? I say, I must not be confused. How shall I get rid of my confusion? What can I do? Shall I take a tranquilizer? Shall I go and talk to the guru, go and read a book, find out why I'm confused, go to an analyst? You're acting. But if you can't act, because you are that, what will you do? What happens? Yes. Please, outside. You ask a question.
Is it all right?
This is all right.
What is the state of consciousness in which a low it is possible for this, I won't say statement, but this situation to arise that this is so.
What is the state of consciousness that sees it is?
Because it is linked up to the first question which was asked, which was, what is the central issue?
What is?
What is the central issue?
Which clears up.
Point.
Yes.
It is that state of consciousness which is capable of seeing things as they are.
Yeah.
Now,
What?
the investigation into that state of consciousness is I think...
Yes. What you understand, Tunki? You asked a question. She's trying to explain your question, which is, what is the state of consciousness? Remember, we talked about consciousness. We said consciousness is its content. Without the content, what we know as consciousness is not. Right? Our state of consciousness is that I'm an Englishman or a Frenchman or a Hindu, Buddhist, I'm a job, I'm the minister, I'm this, you follow? I'm the furniture, I belong, my house, my wife, my family. All that is the content of my consciousness. And that content makes my consciousness. The content makes that consciousness. Now, in that content and that consciousness, what is it, listen carefully, what is it that brings about clarity? Right?
First of all, can anything in that content bring about that?
Answer, Nelson, you go ahead. Answer, Mrs. Jack.
If there's all this confusion and all this wanting to be something,
It's little more going to Nelson. Look, you understand? You don't quite see the problem. My content of my consciousness is all that I have learned, all that has been put into me, all the knowledge which I have acquired, all the experience. You follow? The pain, the suffering, the agony, the toothache, the quarrels, the misunderstandings, the hurts, the loneliness, the jealousy, my prestige, my position, I am this. All that is my consciousness, right? Not right. It is so, isn't it? Now, what brings into this content, into this enormous movement with its, what brings into it clarity? That's our question.
Is it first necessary to recognize the confusion there? That it's all confusion?
No, it could be on. Understand, sir. Answer her question.
is it like you said, if you see the confusion very, very clearly, then as you are the confusion, you are also the clarity?
No, sir. No. This room, this hall, exists because of these walls. The roof, the floor, the windows, doors, and the chairs, the carpet, the color. That makes the room. In the same way, your consciousness is what it contains, what it holds. Right? In that consciousness, is there an entity, is there something that says, I see? It's very, please, this is this is really very important question, because the ancients, Christians as well as Asiatic people, said there is. There's God, their higher self, the supreme thing in you, that in spite of all this confusion, in spite of all the movement of the content of consciousness, that thing sees. Do you understand? You follow this? Now, is that a fact? Or is it invented by a man who said, my God, I'm so confused, I must have something outside which is clear, and put it in my consciousness and say it's there. You understand?
It is the same consciousness which tries to do something about it.
Yes.
It is the same consciousness also which says, I see.
That's what that just. You follow what she's saying? Now, let's go slowly. I said the content of my consciousness is consciousness. In that consciousness, I also say, I see.
Which is not the same as being anger, because what is being anger?
No, we're not reading my point, you know. This goes, take it slowly, please. I'm exploring. Tunki, look, old boy, just listen to me. I am like a doctor operating. He's exploring to find out where the cancer, the disease is. As he's exploring, you don't say, look, do this, do that. You follow him, right? He may be wrong, but you follow him to find out if he's wrong. Help him to find out. You understand, Nelson? We are exploring together. Now, begin again. I say as the doctor, the content of consciousness is consciousness. The two are not separate. The wall, the roof, the floor make the room. Right? Now, in that consciousness, being aware of that consciousness, I say, I see. Right? Who is it that sees? Or who is that says, I understand? You're following this?
Another piece of furniture in the room.
You see, is another fragment in that consciousness. Are you saying that? Be clear, sir. Don't guess at it. Because the patient dies if you guess. You follow.
May I try to elaborate your illustration of the room?
Don't elaborate, sir. No,
may I say something?
Yes, that's a different thing.
The room? No, I didn't mean elaborate. I want to say something. The room is made by the roof, the walls, and the floor. The center of the room is empty. We can see that. Because it is empty, we can look at each other. If there was a piece of furniture in the middle, I could see.
So you are saying there is in my consciousness a space which is empty. And because it is empty, from that emptiness I see. As your illustration, that little space is not occupied. Go slow, sir. Take time. We're not fighting each other. That little space is not occupied. If it was occupied, then there would be no seeing. Because it is not occupied, I see. So, because you see because there is space. Just a minute, I'm exploring. Don't jump on me yet.
Is that space inside or outside?
Inside.
If it's inside, it's the content.
That's right, stick to it. The wall, please bear this in mind. We are getting somewhere. If you go step by step, you will get it. This room exists because there is space outside. And that big space outside has been enclosed into little space. Right? The content of my consciousness is consciousness. And when I say there is a space, or when there is a little entity that sees, it is still the content, which you just now said. Right? So, is there an actual space or invented space as a content? You understand my question? How do I know there is space? When I am all this, is that by another invention who says, yes, I've got a little space from which I see. Mr. Rowland pointed out, because there is little space in this room which is not occupied, if it was occupied, there would be no seeing. Because it's unoccupied, from that unoccupied space, I see you all. I see the content of my consciousness. If there is no space, what happens? I don't see. So, then I invent a space. Because I must see. I must understand. I must get over this.
Krishnaji, that's what I'm doing right now, actually. That I'm absolutely full of the desire to get up and walk out.
Now, get up. Wait, get up and walk out.
Brilliant, yeah. That's what I feel like doing.
Do it.
But now I don't feel like that. I mean, for the past half an hour, I've been sitting here trying to figure out why the hell not to get up and walk out.
Moshe, then you should get up and walk out.
I know.
You won't insult me.
I know I want to stop you. But
I mean, if they mind, a little noise, they say, well, they'll get over it and you walk out.
Exactly.
Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it?
Well, now I don't feel like doing it.
All right, sit down. Now this is too serious. You don't know what all the implications in it. This is a problem to be discussed with people who work at this, not play at it. You see, when I say I see the tree, there is a space between me and the tree. Therefore, I see it. Right? If there is no space, what happens? Oh, you people, that's why you can't discuss. Look, this is really too, look, oh boy. You see, we are used or conditioned, we are encouraged and educated to do something about everything, right? Stop war, stop poverty, stop about this, that, the other thing. That's our conditioning. Do. And in doing, we are creating more and more and more confusion. Right? You're selling armament to Egypt and armament to Israel. So, you follow? And somebody comes along and says, look, don't do anything, but look. The very look will bring action. Listen quietly first. You understood what I said? I'm used to acting about everything. About my wife, about my quarrel, about the government, about Egypt, about Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or India. I'm used to move, act. You come along and tell me, before you act, old boy, just look what is taking place. Look. And look without prejudice. Don't take sides. Don't be a communist or anti-communist, but look. And you say, no, I can't look, I must do something. Right? And that's our problem. And I'm saying to you, don't do anything but look. Listen. And I'm saying, is there space in your mind from which you can look? Or there is no space and therefore you can't look?
Are you implying that it's bad if there is no space from which you can look?
I am not implying. How can I look at you if there is no space between you and me? If I am right up against your nose, how can I see you? I must have little space, a distance from you, for me to look at you. I can't look at you if that little space is occupied by my prejudice, by my content, by my... You follow? Huh?
So you have to get rid of it all.
Who is it that's going to get rid of it? It's part of your content. So, you see, you are all used to doing something, getting rid of, kicking it out, getting up and walking out. And somebody comes along and says, oh, wait a minute. Look at it. Look what is happening inside you. And outside. Look what is happening. And to look what is happening, you must have little space. Wait. Do you create that space, or the very urgency of looking creates the space? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Nor am I. I want to understand you, Tunke, what you are saying. I really do. I'm not pretending. I say, what is he talking about? Not insultingly. I really want to listen to you. And to listen, I must pay attention, mustn't I? That means my thoughts mustn't be wandering all over the place. I mustn't say to myself, oh, for goodness sake, it's a bore. I listen to you. In the same way, I am listening to the content of my consciousness. Not what to do about it. I am observing the room, the walls, the roof, the color of the roof, the color of the walls. I don't say I like this good or beautiful. I'm just looking. In the same way, I am looking at the content of my consciousness. And I'm looking not as an observer looking, but I am that content. The observer is that content. So he is without a movement, he is totally without action in looking. He is the entity that is thinking, working, acting, is made stationary, immobile. You understand? Therefore, you won't see this. Tunke, did you hear what I said? Not what you think. I said, Tunke, I listened to you very carefully, so kindly listen to me equally carefully. And I say, I am that, the whole of that content of my consciousness is me. I can't do anything about the content. If I do, I'm introducing another content. A new content called Brahman, new content called Atman, new content called soul or Krishna consciousness or some blasted idiocy. Right? But it's still within the framework of that consciousness. Right? See that? Do you see that? Do you hear it? Have I verbally explained to you? Yeah. Right. Now, I said next step is, I see it not as something separate from me, I am that. Right? You've got to see this. I am that. I am anger. To which you agreed.
Yes, but I don't fully contain as that. I mean, there are certain parts still saying yes, but something.
The yes, but something is still part of the consciousness.
Yes. Can that be ended?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to keep repeating it in a different way. I am that. Because I am that, there is no movement of thought. Thought is absolutely motionless. It becomes active the moment say I must do something about it. This is too much. So there is, you see, this is it. We'll discuss this afternoon with Dr. Baum at 4 o'clock, this problem. Action, the movement of the content of consciousness is creating time, all the rest of it. And there is a perception which is absolutely motionless. Because perception is motionless. So what takes place when there is an absolutely motionless state and a movement? It's too much.
May I say a little more about this space? It's just the physical space, which we know about.
Critical.
The physical space
yes.
between us, which we know about.
Yes, sir.
involves time. I know that to walk over to that platform will take me perhaps 2 seconds.
Yes.
And that space is between 2 things.
Yes.
But the space of perception is not between 2 things.
Wait, go slow. Why do you say that?
Suggesting. And doesn't involve time.
Why do you say that?
Because it doesn't take me time to see.
Sir, to move from here to there takes time. So time is movement.
Yes, and that is my knowledge.
No, time is movement. Not knowledge, it's a fact. Actuality.
I know that it will take me 2 seconds to reach you.
That's an actuality. That's truth.
I'm not quite sure. But to see you, I don't have to make a movement.
No, sir. May I go?
I don't know how to put it.
No, you will put it, sir. When it's clear, you can put it. When I move from here to there, involves distance, time, right? Keep to that. So, time, we say, is movement. When there is no movement, as distance, space, motion from here to there, when there is no movement at all, there is no time. Right? Now, the content of my consciousness is constantly moving. Of course, going from one pattern to another, from one belief to another, from one action to another, from one regret to another, from one suffering to another, from one formula to another, from one attachment to another. So it is in constant movement. Otherwise, you say, I'm not living. Leave that for the moment. So, can there be in that consciousness complete non-movement? Not invented by thought saying there is no movement, but can that movement in consciousness stop?
You answered your own question.
Huh?
You said consciousness is always moving. So how can there be
So
no movement?
that's the whole point. Go into it, please find out. So what happens to a mind that has been in constant movement, which is the content of consciousness and so on, in that consciousness, is there a moment or a space which is motionless? Or is all movement? Therefore, all time, all distance, space, all the rest of it.
Well, at the center of a whirlpool, there's quiet. I don't think that's a good analogy.
Then are you saying, I'm just asking, are you saying time can never have an ending in that consciousness? Obviously. And if there is no end to time, we are prisoners in this consciousness. Of course. We'll go into this very deeply with Dr. Baum this afternoon at 4. It's fun. All right, sir? Can your mind be absolutely still, without inducing stillness, without taking a drug, without taking mantras. You follow all the tricks, which are all inventions of thought. Can thought completely stop? Because time, we said, is movement from here to there. And as long as there is a movement in consciousness, it be a prisoner to time, therefore it must suffer, it must, and all the rest of it. So we are asking, can that movement stop?
That doesn't mean that you're not doing anything, does it?
Huh?
That doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. You can be cutting down a tree.
Yeah. No, of course. You see, you are doing from the consciousness. Your content is doing. Right? Therefore, the doing is divisive and therefore confusing. Right? You understand divisive? That means divided. You are a Christian, you are a communist, you are a non-belief, you know, I don't know. You follow? That's all movement, and therefore in that consciousness there is division, and therefore it brings conflict. Now, when all from that movement you act, therefore you are creating more confusion. That's what the politicians are doing.
Well, what are we doing here then if not acting?
No. Here we are not acting in the sense, in the sense physically moving. Right? We are acting in one direction, that is, action is the process of investigation into this whole business, that's action. And also, there is non-action, which is the perception that says the mind has to be silent, quiet, motionless. And that from that motionless state, there is a tremendous action.
Which, if you don't carry it out, is going to...
Not what you do, it is carrying it out. You don't say, I must carry it out, which means again, you follow? Do you get this, or is it too abstract, all this? You know, I was thinking the other day when we were talking about respect, what relationship has respect to discipline? You understand what I mean? In a community of this kind, we're all living together, and so on, in a community, in a small community, which is really the community, which is the world, is a bit larger community, and so on. Can we have discipline? I mean by discipline, not obeying certain authority, pattern, conforming, which society accepts as discipline. Can we have discipline which is not that, and yet have order? Have you understood what I'm talking about?
So a discipline can also refer to a subject that one learns.
No, just a minute. No, I understand all that. Look, I said order. If we are living together, as we are, we must have order. That is, if you do something and I do something and he does something else, she does, we'll create confusion. We must have order. Order comes when we all see the same thing, more or less. Now, Can there be order without being told by somebody you must be orderly? You understand what I'm saying? I say to you, please listen. I say to you, it is very necessary to be punctual for meals. I'm taking that as an example. I can take much bigger issue. I won't take bigger issue. I'm taking a very small issue. That you must be punctual. You must make your bed. I tell you that because that's orderly. Now wait a minute. I say this to you, and you listen to it, which is respect. If you tell me something, I listen to you. You may tell me something which is idiotic, and so, though I listen, I won't accept it. But if you and I accept that thing, say we must be orderly in our room, will you listen to it? And because you listen to it, you do it. You follow? It's an action that's taken place, which is the act of learning, which is itself discipline. I want to forget it. So, a community of this kind lives on actual moment. Do you understand this? No, it's very difficult, this.
Listen.
This community, when we are living together like this, there are no rules. There are no authority, no compulsion. And we have to be orderly. You tell me, keep your room tidy, which is part of order. If not, somebody has to come down, make the room tidy, or the people with whom I share the room have to make tidy. So you tell me, keep your room tidy. And I listen to you. Because you say, please listen. I've explained to you, you've explained to me why you should keep it or the room in order. That very listening is action. You no longer have to tell me I have to keep the room in order. It's finished. Wait, listen. So, there is an action which is entirely taken place immediately. You don't have to repeat ever to me again, keep the room tidy.
So, I mean, it may be that I don't really see why the room should be
That's your job to show me.
I mean,
your job is to show me.
But I may say to you, look, animals live in an untidy way. Why shouldn't I live in an untidy way? I'm an animal.
We said, what relationship has respect to discipline? Respect I show you by listening to you. Disrespect is not to listen to you. Say, brush you off, I casually pay attention, not. Respect implies to not to brush you away, not to go back and ask what did you mean by it. I am paying complete attention to you because I respect you and you respect me because we have got to live together. We both see the necessity of order. But I don't know what it means. So you explain to me, you show me, you show how if you are disorderly in your room, your mind is disorderly, your actions are disorderly. Everything that you touch will become disorderly. You explain that to me. And because I'm paying attention, you don't have to ever repeat again to me. That is an action of total you follow? It's finished. And I move to something else.
In a community like this, if something of that nature happens, and the person goes on and on refusing to, you could say, to behave themselves, what happens in the end?
In the end,
is that they
either that person gets out,
or is asked to leave. But then what happens? This is a community. This is a world inside a world, if you like. What happens in the big world when that happens?
What happens in the big world? Nobody is willing to listen.
Yeah, so they're either thrown into prison. That's one thing that will be done with them.
In the big world, sir, nobody has any respect for anybody.
Right. But doesn't it actually happen to a certain extent here?
What?
Doesn't it also happen to a certain extent
Maybe.
here?
That's your misery.
So, you said that if this person won't find their room and so on, then you carry on explaining to them. You try and get it across to them.
Look, what will you do with me if I don't keep my room in disorder? If I keep my room in disorder, what will you do with me? You have shown me what order means, order in the mind. You follow all that involved in action, in behavior, and everything.
Yeah. We're talking as if I assume that I don't want your room to be in disorder.
What?
We're talking as if we're talking on the assumption that I don't want your room to be in disorder, first of all.
No, I'm not assuming. It is a fact. I keep my room in disorder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then I come along. If I don't mind that your room is in disorder...
I know, you do mind.
I don't.
Because you are responsible.
Right.
Because you say to me, look, if you don't, it's an indication of your disorderly behavior, disorderly mind, disorderly way of living.
The basic means that that person who's keeping his room in disorder would answer something like he or she does not really think that his actions have an influence on other people, that they think they are separate entities. Why do you bother with their...
I think Bruce says to me, what will you do with me? You have pointed out 10 times to me, and I keep my room in disorder. What will you do with me?
To me, it's most relevant to point out that this person's action is not separate, that it's part of the whole
lady, you have pointed out 10 times to me.
Yeah, can I go further? Because what does happen in the end, in a community, is that person is no longer
part of the community.
There comes a point at which the people don't want to bother anymore.
I want to bother.
Yeah, okay.
I am responsible.
Right.
And therefore I take great deal of trouble. And if you say, I'm going to keep my room in disorder, I don't care. It's your prejudice, it's your this and your that. I say, look, my friend, I've talked to you 10 times. I've explained to you 100 times. Please, the door.
Exactly. If that person goes out into the world,
he faces the mess of the world because he won't learn.
But then,
what am I to do? Hit him on the head? To answer me, what?
It was the right thing to do to hit him on the head, not hit him on the head.
Hit him on the head, he'll hit you back. You see, you are authoritarian, you are this and you know this. So what are you to do with people who won't listen?
I don't know, but personally, I don't feel like, there comes a point at which you say, when do I give up?
I never give up.
Exactly. I mean, you've been going for what? I mean, how many years?
Why should I give up? I see the mess in the world. Why should I give it up?
You give up on your own personal interest.
I know. Because I have order in me, I want to create order out there.
Yeah. But if one doesn't have order of oneself, and one's got one's own little interest in things, then there comes a point at which one's own interests conflict with carrying on with that person.
Carry on. Like the rest of the world, like the rest of mediocrity, carry on.
Right. So everybody's interested up to a certain point. I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying...
No, there is no interest up to a certain point. Interest is interest all the time. You can't say, well, I've stopped, I've lost interest.
Right. So if it stops at a certain point, then it's not genuine.
The interest, sir, is something, say for instance, I'm a doctor, or trying to become a doctor. I'm investigating or exploring in the cadaver, in the body. I can't in the middle of say, I'm sorry, I've lost interest.
But that's what happens.
And then I'm not going to be a good doctor. Exactly. It doesn't matter. All right, don't be a good doctor. That's all right. But I want to be a good doctor. Therefore, I must go into it. I'm tired enough this morning. What were you going to say? So what's the purpose of education? What's the point of being educated? If you're going to be like the rest of the world, what's the point of being educated? To become a clerk or a governor or executive, this or that? Is that all? What's the point of it all? To become a good housewife? Oh Lord, just think of that. Huh?
You're asking what's the point of living, really?
I'm asking you. What's the point of all this? So, if you, being young, are not educated to discover the meaning of life, you follow? Now, not when you go to college, you will never learn it there. Now, if you are not beginning to learn what is the whole circus about, and to learn what the circus is about is part of education, perhaps the whole of education. Well, basta, isn't it? Enough for this moment. Right.